welcome back to the second period at the Sobe Ice Arena at the Fiesta Rancho. I'm Dana Lane. UNLV has a 2-0 lead over BYU to start the second period. But BYU has 54 seconds left in the power play. Face-off will be taken by Scamorza. They'll be opposed by Tate Colley, won by BYU. And back to Axel Boyer. And dumped in behind Idison. .36 seconds to go, second period. BYU controls the puck. And their own end back out to the left point, shot into the middle. Nobody there to redirect it home and shot back out. Scamorza controls and heavy forecheck by Steve. Fifth game back for UNLV after the holiday break. Here's a turnover. Here's Scamorza looking for a pass to the slot, and Province wasn't there to collect it. BYU back quickly into the Rebel end. A backhand over to Tate Colley, and a save there by Idison. BYU still controlling in their end. UNLV has now killed off the power play, so 5-on-5 hockey, 18:47 to go second period, and UNLV breaks out. Steaming down the right-hand side is Trevor Ruiz. Ruiz trying to find somebody to slot. Nobody there, yes! And there's a shot by Jake Sachs. There was nobody there. All of a sudden, Sachs comes out of nowhere to get a shot just wide. Great opportunity there for the Rebels. And UNLV once again attacking the zone. Antison comes in, but taken away. And controlled there by the Cougars. As it's sent down to Idison. Idison almost loses it, does lose it. But nobody there to pick up the pieces for the Cougars. As UNLV, here's Antison looking for somebody in the high slot. Can't find anybody, doesn't get the shot off. Kept in there by the Rebels, and then lost there by Spire. And it goes down to the other end. 17:48 to go, second period. 2-0 UNLV, Sobe Ice Arena at the beautiful Fiesta Rancho. How many? 17:39 to go. Face-off won by the Rebels. Scrum in the corner. Back out to the point. Little wrister at side. Can't get redirected. Now fought for there by Simone. Wrapped around to Gears at the left point. UNLV still controlling their own end. Here's Spire. Spire trying to cycle it, but just dumps it down in front. I believe that's Grohl. That's 19. We'll get clarification. The redirection doesn't get on net, but a good idea there for the Rebels as they're buzzing around Brandon Ward to try to make it 3-0. 16:47 to go. Second period. And UNLV just dumps it in to get a change. Chased there by Eric Kruger for the Cougars. And BYU, long stretch pass up to Chimboski. And we're going to get a penalty here on BYU as Gears is floating across the ice. Might have been a little bit of a high stick, might be a trip. We'll get the official call here. Nonetheless, yeah, maybe it's not going to be. Yeah, it looks like Gears is going to go in. The one that's sprawling across the ice, of course, is the one that gets called for the penalty. So Gears from Santa Barbara, California, is 2 minutes, and we'll get the official word, the official call on that. and BYU wins the faceoff. This is a big power play for the Cougars. They have to take advantage of these. History will tell you they will get more as the game goes on, because UNLV likes to throw the weight around. Shot in the high point, just gets to Idison and he sticks it aside. I think it was a pretty weak shot, so I don't think it was that tough of a save. But BYU still controls. Now to the high slot. Here's a wide open net and a score, BYU. And it looks like Eric Kruger will get the goal for the Cougars to make it 2-1. A power play goal from Eric Kruger. The initial shot came into Idison. Big rebound. Idison out of place. And the net was wide open for Kruger to pound it home and cuts the lead in half. It's now 2-1 UNLV. And UNLV wins the faceoff. And dumped back down by BYU. BYU forechecking 2 now. So they're applying a bit more pressure. It was Eric Kruger on the goal. The official announcement there. Fought for it in the corner by Simone. Well, we've said his name a lot tonight so far. I think there's still some rust. Here's a 2-on-1. Here's a 2-on-1 for UNLV. A little wrister and a shot and a save by Brandon Ward. Good opportunity there. A 2-on-1. And Ward makes the save as BYU with the giveaway. And UNLV doesn't miss too many of those opportunities to extend the lead, but good job by Ward there. Ward comes into the game 3 and 4. Goals against average just under 4. Save percentage at 91%. Second highest on the team to Mark Grant. And UNLV controls. Here's the dump over to Ruiz, and it's going to be offside. So 14:44 to go, second period. 2-1 UNLV, and as we talked about last week, UNLV 4 games in 4 days in Colorado. They started the trip winning against Northern Colorado 5-3. They lost 1-0 to Boise, 4-2 to Denver, and then finished the trip off with a 5-3 win against Metro State. Face off just outside of the BYU zone. Face off won by UNLV. Quickly gets it over to Ruiz. Ruiz wrister and a save by Ward. Good to see Trevor get a haircut. Dumped back in by UNLV. Played there by Ward and back of his net. As BYU regroups. Here's a big hit. Big hit there by Nick Gears. And we're going to have a penalty. And we'll see how this plays out, because the pass went over to the left-hand side. Gears measured him and laid him out for sure. But the last time I checked, this is hockey. Keep your head up, son. And YouTube will be going crazy now for that. So Nick Gears is going in for 2 minutes. Get the official call on that. Not sure if the official call is going to be playing too hard or lining an opponent up who wasn't looking. But without the benefit of the replay, unfortunately, maybe he got some of his head, and that's going to get called every time. So BYU controls in the Rebel zone. So far, UNLV keeps them to the perimeter. Wrister in on Idison. Relatively easy save for Eric. Simone and Ruiz come back on the ice. Anderson and Cody Lane go back off. Face off in the UNLV zone. 13:44 to go, second period. 2-1 Rebels. BYU, a team whose record is not as impressive as UNLV's, But if you look up and down their schedule, they certainly have played UNLV's common opponents tough. So certainly no pushover tonight, despite BYU's road record, which is less than stellar over the last 2 or 3 years. BYU controls. UNLV packing it in, so BYU is able to kind of walk it in towards Idison. Rister hits the post just wide. And BYU is buzzing, looking for that equalizer. Here's a giveaway. Racing up the ice is Simone in on Ward, makes the save, and for his efforts, Trevor Ruiz comes in, gives a little bit of an ice shaving, gives a shaving to Ward. And understandably, the Cougars are not happy about that as they come to Ward's defense. And we'll see how this all works out. Should be a whole bunch of nothing. Should be just 59 seconds to go in that original Cougar power play. And we listened to Coach Greener, who's not happy, and probably rightfully so, with Ruiz's actions on the ice there. Trevor's a kid that doesn't know how good he can be, but the extracurricular stuff, you don't ever want to put your team in a bad spot, especially when you're already down by a goal. So it looks like BYU is going to be assessed a penalty, and it looks like it's going to go to Ashton Shimbashi. So UNLV in a minute 1 will get a power play, or in 59 get a power play for a minute 1. And 2-minute minor for charging. And needless to say, UNLV got lucky there. Big hit along the boards as Spire tried to give one, but took the brunt of it. And BYU controls still in the UNLV zone. That's Chase Christensen, keeps it in. Little wrister wide of Idison. UNLV breaks out, has a 3, maybe 4 on 2 if they hurry, and it's offsides. Well, Jake Sachs tried to hold up, but unfortunately the play was offside. They had a 4 on 2 if they hurried. But that was called, and face-off outside of the BYU zone. Second period, 12:33 to go. 2-1 UNLV from the Sobe Ice Arena at Fiesta Rancho. And UNLV wins the face-off. Here's Antison. Antison gets it back. Heavy forecheck there by Boyer. Antison almost gave it up, did not. Antison now gets it into the BYU zone. Bunched up in the corner. And UNLV now on the power play for 50 seconds. Here's Asaf at the point. Asaf over to Gears. Usually Asaf is going to lay one out for Gears, and he's going to unload a bomb. Playing back and forth with Antison. Antison down low. Brask could not get it over to Gears. The idea there is to get over to Gears, and here's a breakaway for BYU. And just wide for Tate Crowley as UNLV controls. 11:42 to go, 20 seconds to go in that man advantage for UNLV. Here's Asaf. Asaf tries to make a move to Ward, into Ward, and unable to do so as BYU clears it. Gears goes back to get it. 8 seconds to go in the power play. 5 seconds. And BYU is going to kill off this power play, but perhaps one more rush for the Rebels as it's dumped in by Steve Terry. Fought there in the corner by Antison. Sticks about 2 inches from my nose. Feeling very comfortable right now. Braskin on a heavy forecheck. Forces the bad pass as UNLV once again comes into the offensive zone. There's a dump off by Grawl. Nobody there to take it. And dump down, it's going to be icing. So, 2-2 road trip last week for the Rebels. You get a lot of texts saying, hey, what's wrong? Well, don't get too excited, okay? We just came back. They just came back from break. Then you're expected to go on the road trip for 4 days. some additions, some subtractions for the team, and it takes a while to get back on track. UNLV controls. That's Mayer trying to get it in down low. Can't quite get it to Brass. Now back out to Sachs. Sachs passes it back to Terry, but Terry loses it, and UNLV has to go back and regroup. And BYU now controls a pass off of Pipegrass. Gonna go with that. Find me on Twitter if the name is wrong. There's a stretch pass to Sachs. Sachs looking for a trailer. Can't find one, so he just slaps it in on Ward. And Ward easily makes the save there. So 10:09 to go, second period, 2-1 UNLV. Sachs and Grau coming off. Face-off is going to be taken by Province. And the BYU zone, big face-off there by Province. As they'll take it against Boyer. Won by BYU. Good effort there by Shimbashi to control the puck. And dumped it into the BYU zone. Heavy pressure there by the Rebels. Stretch pass just too long for Colley. If Colley was able to control that, he would have been in on front and out of the zone. Good play there by Ben Gant as Ben gets it out of the zone. UNLV looks like a 3-on-2. Dumped it in. Look, a little wrist shot save by Ward. And Brass trying to control again. And we're going to have a whistle. Well, it's never good when Brass is standing and the opposing player is on the ice. So let's see if we have a call here. Or if the puck just came out of the zone. If anybody would like to donate a replay monitor, that'd be awesome. Please just contact me. Yeah, Braska's going to go in for 2 minutes, so we're going to be evened up for 42 seconds. Or for a minute 17, and at BYU we get a 42-second power play. Delayed or icing there. So upcoming schedule for UNLV, BYU tonight, 8-2 on the season. Has played far less games than the Rebels, but ranked 14th by ACHA. 27th and 28th, it returns to Las Vegas Ice Center versus SMU, 8:05, and streaking down the right-hand side is Sachs. A wrister wide, a soft controls in the corner. A 4-on-4 game certainly benefits UNLV as they control and back a Ward. Looking for somebody in the high slot, nobody there. Everybody to the perimeter. And Sachs and Spire get bunched up in the corner. And we have a whistle. Yeah, let's see if that was just an offside. Again, not the greatest angle here, but we kind of try to anticipate what's going on. So because of the angle, it's difficult to see if they're going to call off, if they call an offsides or not, but that appears to be the case. 6:11 to go, second period, 2-1 UNLV over BYU. I got my post-holiday voice going. I don't know if that's good or bad. Another break until we come home at the end of the month. So try to work on it between now and then. Fought there in the corner by Antison. Antison flicking Cougars off like he can't even feel them. And UNLV controls after a big hit in the corner on Antison. Antison went down, no call. Apparently, if your back is to the board, that's not a problem. But we're going to even things up as we're going to have a tripping call on Antison, and probably rightfully so. Tripping there clearly on Ben Gant. Gant from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. There's no stranger to the penalty box this year as he leads the Cougars in penalties. So UNLV has 48 seconds left on a penalty to Victor Brask. And when it's all said and done, they're going to have a minute 11 man advantage. Cross ice pass to Sachs. Sachs can't get it off of his stick. A 2-minute minor penalty officially for tripping. Back to a soft. Wrister just wide of Ward. Play 4-on-4 hockey for another 22 seconds. Big hit along the boards. And referee whistles the play as the puck isn't going anywhere. Probably a good idea. If you know anything about these two schools, not a rich history in hockey for sure, but no love lost in any of the other sports. And they're probably pretty mindful of that. It was a quick whistle, probably could have been poked out of there. But I certainly didn't want to keep control of this. Two teams that are no stranger to the penalty box, so it's good to keep control of that. So UNLV in 9 seconds will go on to power play. 4:58 to go, just under 5 minutes in the second period. 2-1 UNLV. Fought there in back of Ward. And a wrister wide of Ward hits the outside of the net. Now UNLV will have a power play for 1:04. And back of Ward. Here's Antison looking for somebody in the slot. Nobody there. And BYU controls. Just almost took my nose off, but that's okay because it's hockey. And UNLV dumps it into the zone. Here's Antison. Antison has Gears in the middle. Doesn't get to Gears, but does find Jake Sachs. Sachs wristed just wide. Back to Sachs as he dumps it into the corner for Antison. And Sachs came right down the middle. He's got the puck on his stick over to Gears. Back to Asaf. Here's Gears looking to one-time it. Doesn't quite do that, but he does get a wrist shot off and a save by Ward. And 17 seconds to go in the BYU penalty. Good thought there by Gears if he could just poke it away. But it gets down to Idison as Idison plays it. Idison's not been very busy here in the second period, but BYU kills off that power play. So now we're back to full strength. 3:34 to go, second period, 2-1 UNLV. So let's go through the rest of the schedule, upcoming schedule. As we said, January 27th and 28th. The Rebels will be back home to face BYU at the Las Vegas Ice Center. Incidentally, this is the last game at the Sobe Arena this year. All the other home games, excluding any that they might schedule, will be at the Las Vegas Ice Center, the 27th and 28th against SMU. And we'll go through the rest of the schedule here in a second as UNLV dumps it into the BYU zone. Chased there by Simone. Simone loses an edge. Still kept in, but BYU now controls. They hurry. They got a 3-on-2. Good back check there. BYU's manages to get it into the Rebel zone. Big hit in the corner. The corner I can't see, but if there's a hit, I'm gonna guess it's Brask or Dion. And here's Antison coming up the right side. Fakes the shot. Wrister wide, saved by Ward. I think it just came off of Antison's stick a little bit. Didn't get all of it as he faked the slap shot. Decided to pull the stick back and tried to find a hole over Ward's shoulder. Didn't quite get the puck up. Scamorza gets it out of the BYU zone. Big hit in the corner. And probably as this game goes on, the hits will get more and more. Aggressive forecheck there by the Rebels, trying to force a bad pass, which they do. There's Grawl in the corner. Grawl trying to find somebody at the high slot, doesn't find one, so they get it back out to the point where Steve Terry takes a wrister, saved by Ward. 1:58 to go, second period, 2-1 UNLV. So after SMU, they'll play the next 3 on the road, February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th versus Northern Arizona, Arizona State. 2 against Northern Arizona and 1 against Arizona State. Time to be determined on that as UNLV keeps it in. Take there by Axel Boyer. Boyer streaking down the left-hand side, chased there by Asaf. Now in back of Ward. And loose puck as the Rebels come away with it. Pass up to Scamorza looking for a trailer. Scamorza gets it back to Spire, who promptly gives it back to Scamorza. Scamorza battling in back of Ward. Both teams battling hard for sure. There's a soft shot just high of Ward. Again, Scamorza battling for it. Spire now has it. Both teams trying to gain possession. Puck in back of Ward. Scamorza has it again. Looking for Spire in the middle. Doesn't quite get to him. just wide of Spire as the puck goes out of the zone. 1 minute to go, second period. 2-1 UNLV. Here's Antison. Antison with sacks. Shot in on Ward. Saved by Ward. Still in the BYU Cougar zone and now out. 40 seconds to go, second period. Somewhere between the second and third period. I gotta find my man voice. We'll find it somewhere. 28 seconds to go. Puck behind Idison. Chase there. Antison has the puck. Tries to get out of the zone and does. And the puck just wide of Gears as it goes into the BYU corner. Battle there by Gears. Now joined in by Sachs, trying to win that battle, but BYU comes out of there. 4 seconds to go. 2 seconds. 1, and that's the end of the second period. So at the end of the second period, pretty even period there. No scoring in that period. As UNLV takes a 2-1 lead into the locker room. And obviously any lead is a good lead. But for this Rebel team that's used to not being close at the end of the second period, is still kind of searching for that extra level. As the Ice Center's playing my favorite band, Def Leppard. Very happy now. But in the third period, I'm sure UNLV will want to come out and extend this lead, and right before they get another break before they go on, before they face the SMU Mustangs, the 27th and the 28th of January at the Las Vegas Ice Center. So we'll be back in 13 minutes for the third period, and in UNLV 2, BYU 1. From the Sobe Ice Arena, we'll be back. to the SoBe Arena for third period action for UNLV and BYU. 2-1 UNLV. And what's going to be the last game at SoBe Arena this year. The last remaining home games will be at the Las Vegas Ice Center. So UNLV would like to make it a one-loss season at the SoBe Ice Center. That's arena. Didn't find my man voice in between periods, but we'll shake through it. Team's just coming out and get warmed up. So to end the schedule, and of course we talked about the national championships at Columbus, Ohio. That will take place March 15th through the 19th. If you're one of the top two teams in your region, according to the ACHA poll, you will not have to compete in that regional. So it's very important for UNLV to finish in the top two, which they're ranked number 2 right now. They'll be back home February 10th through the 11th versus Cal State Northridge. Game time 8:05 at the Las Vegas Ice Center. And then from that point on, we'll see what happens. Talking to Z Khan, the general manager of the Rebels, of the Skating Rebels, Z said, maybe we'll schedule some other teams to get ready for either regionals or going to Columbus. So third period underway for the Rebels and BYU. One face-off won by the Cougars. What I would assume in the next 5 minutes are going to come out with the anticipation of tying this game up and tying it up quickly. The longer this goes, the more it benefits UNLV. As a shot in on Idison. Causes very little trouble. Idison pounces on it. Face off in the UNLV end. So he'll take this for the Rebels, probably Sachs. Yes. Sachs takes the face-off, won by UNLV. As Anderson breaks out, he's got Ruiz on his right, who goes to the middle. And we're going to have an offside. So just underway in the third period, 2-1, UNLV. The last ACHA ranking was December 13th. That was 5 games ago. Williston State, number 1, riding their 2-game series against Minot State early on. The Division I Minot State club team. Big hit along the boards. It's going to be a lot of that in the third period. Anderson says, you're not hitting me. You won't hit me either. Neither one of you is going to take me down. In fact, I'll take the puck. I'll try to get it off on Ward. Ward makes a big save in front. And another wrister just wide by Sachs. Whistle's blown. And we'll see what the call is here. So Anderson fought off 2 checks. Then took the puck to the middle and got it to Ruiz. Tried to get it in on Ward. And Ward was standing tall like he has most of tonight. It's one thing about most of these teams that we've seen, despite the scores, most teams come in with pretty solid goaltending, even though in many cases, not tonight, the team doesn't match. Here's some speed up through the middle, backhand there by Mayer, and out of play. Great speed there by Tristan Mayer, right up through the middle. Tried to backhand it over Ward's shoulder, unable to do so. Faceoff still in the BYU zone, 2-1, 18:38 to go, third period. Allison Chains cranking as UNLV wins the face-off. A wrister in by Hetzel. Saved by Ward. And UNLV controls back in their own end. Quick pass to the middle to Simone. We've mentioned just Simone's name a lot tonight. Been as active as we have seen him so far this year. Save by Ward. Puck control back into the corner. Back out to the point. Big shot there by Terry. Another save by Ward. An absolute bomb off of Terry's stick. Ward was there to save it. Terry tried to dump it back in. Another bomb off of Terry's stick, just wide. And controlled there in the corner. Coach Greener wanted a penalty on that. Referee said, not on this one. And we have an icing. So 17:35 to go, third period, 2-1. UNLV. And as we mentioned, Williston State is number one in the West somehow, as Williston is a college in North Dakota. Apparently that's in the West. Fought for in the corner. Controlled by BYU. Throwing some back of Ward, now setting up the offense. Heavy forecheck there by Province. And UNLV forced a bad pass as they battle for it in the corner. 17 minutes to go in the game. See Victor Brask, a key member of UNLV, getting looked at. We've had a few players in the trainer room in between period. Here's Province going in on Ward. Can't get it off his stick as the trickle's just off. But Province had a opportunity to extend this lead 3-1 if he can get a clean look off his stick, which he couldn't. And UNLV looks to break it out of their zone. As Sachs and Ruiz come on the ice. And we'll have another icing call. BYU averaging almost 5 goals a game this season. They allow 3.94 goals, 2-5 on the road. Not as good offensively on the road, where they only average 4 goals a game, and they give up over 6 a game. So UNLV is a long way from that 6 as the Rebels win the faceoff. Trickles in on Ward, and he covers up. So the Cougars given up 6 goals a game on the road this season, have only given up 2 tonight. And for a team that's only .500 on the year, they certainly are playing a spirited hockey game against the number 2 team in the West. Puck still down in the Cougar zone. Battle there and brought out by BYU. There's Jared Grant, and a shot just wide of Idison, a wrister, and a glove save. Good opportunity from Chase Christensen there, who we've called his name a couple times tonight. Good save by Idison. It's tough when you're not always active in the play to stay alert, but Eric was up to task there to make the save. Chased in the corner by Hetzel. I appreciate Connor's parents sending me some notes in between the periods. Always nice to know people are listening. Here's Grant, little backhander, and a save by Idison. And I don't even know if he saw that. Protecting the corner, and here's a breakout for Antison. Antison looking for somebody in a high slot. He's got Ruiz. Can't get it to him. And a shot just wide of Ward, and a score! Well, it's far away, so we don't know who got it. But we do know this. UNLV's ahead 3-1 against the Cougars. And we'll get the official score on that. It could have been Ruiz. And there was a scrum in the middle. Ward made the initial save. And I think Ruiz poked it home to make it 3-1 UNLV. And we'll get the official scoring on that before we hand out the official praise. But nonetheless, UNLV has a 3-1 lead, an important goal for the Rebels. Extremely important to get that first goal here in the third period. As BYU loses the faceoff, but then gains control. UNLV back in control as the soft dumps it down to Ward. Ward can't control as UNLV dumps it in and out of play. 15:05 to go, third period. UNLV 3, BYU 1. Hope the audio doesn't keep cutting in and out. It is in my headsets. Apologize if it is for you listening on YouTube. Face-off won by UNLV, pounced on there by Terry, who had a opportunity. And Ruiz does get the goal. And Sachs get the assist. And Antison gets the second assist. So it's 3-1 UNLV, 14:42 to go, third period. Back to the point, big wrist shot by Steve Terry. It wasn't a wrist shot, it was actually a slap shot. You get those down pat. Big save there by Ward, has played extremely well tonight. And UNLV still controlling as they dump it into the corner. 14:19 to go, 3-1 UNLV. And UNLV applying the heavy pressure right now. Great job there by Province, forcing BYU to make the errant pass. Chased down by Spire. Spire fights for it in the corner. Back out to the point. And BYU just dumps it back in. And back of Idison. Nobody in front for BYU. So even if they do control, it's going to be a perimeter shot. And if you're a goaltender, you can't ask for anything more than a night full of perimeter shots. Kept in nicely by Province, fighting to keep the puck in as BYU looked to break it out. Shot in on Ward, makes the easy save, shovels it to the corner. Big hit there in the corner on Scamorza. Scamorza gives the Cougar player a little shove. And BYU finally gets it out as Jared Grant gets it out of his own end. But once again, back into the UNLV zone, back in the BYU zone, rather. One thing the Rebels have done as games have gone on is impose their will on opposing teams. And I think that's the one thing they did not do in Colorado as BYU comes up on a rush. It's 2-on-3, but still had an angle for a shot. Now we're going to get a penalty, and it's going to be on BYU, and UNLV's going to the power play. And we'll get the official call on that. But not only does UNLV have a 3-1 lead with 12:49 to go in this one, UNLV's going to go to the power play to try to extend this lead even further. UNLV on the season averages almost 6 goals a game, 5.67 goals per game. As we see the penalty go up on the board, it looks like Ben Gant, is going to go in the penalty box, which is a big loss for BYU, considering Gant, 2-minute minor penalty for tripling, has 27 points on the season. And I think that's tied for the Cougar lead. Asaf has it out to the point. Big shot by Gears and a save by Ward and kick back out by the Cougars. Idison goes out to play it. Gets the rush, going to token pressure by the Cougars. Tried to pinch, unsuccessful. Fortunately, that creates a 5-on-3 opportunity. But luckily for the Cougars, they're able to maintain control and shove it back down the ice. Idison goes out to play it. Dumps it off for Asaf. So it's Asaf and Simone on his right. Antison chases it. And the left-hand side, Antison now has it. Bangs it around the boards to Simone. Battle for Simone. Finally back off to Asaf. As he wrists it in. The save by Ward. Not sure if that puck did get to Ward, but Gears has it out to the point. We know he's got a bomb from the point. And a save off of the stick of Antison by Ward. And UNLV is buzzing. What UNLV needs right now is to get a convincing victory. They had 2 wins in Colorado by 2 5-3 counts, and I'm not sure that that's what the UNLV Rebels are, Skating Rebels are used to having. 5-3 wins. It's not really in this team's DNA. So a larger win, I think, will get these guys right back on track again. Good pinch there by the Cougs. As Axel Boyer tries to make a move. BYU trying to open up a short-handed bid, 11 seconds to go, and just a dump in there. Handled by Idison. Dump in there by Tate Colley. A head of steam up to Ward. Ward makes a save. 10:40 to go, third period. Puck back out to Steve Terry. Gets it in deep. As Sachs tried to jump on that. It's many, many times tonight, if UNLV could just get to the puck or the puck stays on the stick, they would have had plenty of opportunities to extend this lead. But as it stands right now, it's 3-1, and that's going to be easily offside. So 10:18 to go, third period, 3-1 UNLV. The Rebels 13-1 at home this season. The only loss was to Weber State. And you know how I feel about that. So that was the only home loss for the Rebels, who could use some home cooking. Gears controls the puck back to Asaf. Asaf and back of Idison just wasting some time as BYU extends some pressure, bringing 3 forecheckers into the zone. And you're going to see BYU now applying some pressure, trying to force bad UNLV passes. So 9, just under 10 minutes to go, face off just outside the Rebel zone. Province wins the face-off back to Idison. Battled there by Asaf. Asaf might not be tall in stature. The shot in on Idison makes the save. And UNLV gets it out of the zone, but you're saying Asaf might be not as tall in stature, but is the tallest in heart on this team. And we're going to have another BYU penalty as the Rebels, with 9:32 to go, are going on another power play. And a goal here could put this game away. You could say before the break there was an incredible cohesion on this team. And I think what happens is you have a long break, and sometimes you have to get that back. Sometimes it just doesn't carry over. And perhaps a 3 or 4 goal win tonight will bring that cohesion back to propel them the rest of the season, as the soft dumps it in. 1:45 to go in the power play. Played there by Ward in front. Nobody there to pounce on it for the Rebels, but Asaf has it. Gets it in deep. Now over to Gears. Gears from Simone. Here's Gears, gets it down low. Simone Gears looking for that giant laser beam from the top of the point, or from the middle of the point, or from the point. Say that again. Here's Asaf, back over to Gears. Antison on the right. Gears decides just to wrist it wide. And Simone, who's played at probably the best game all season tonight, he now has it a point. Slap shot just wide. And a wide open net there, as UNLV missed a golden opportunity to put that puck away. 52 seconds to go. Opportunity just wide. There's Anderson. He's there to score. Well, the original opportunity, as Ward was out of position, was not taken advantage of by Antison as the puck rebounded off of Ward. Antison was there to pound it home, and the Rebels take a 4-1 lead with 8:15 to go in the third period. And that could be exactly what the Rebels are looking for and what they need. Get some of that mojo back. And it's hard to say that a team that's 22-5 may have lost their mojo a little bit, but there's a certain air about this team when they're going well that you can immediately recognize. Pass up to Scamorza looking for a trailer. Can't find one in the slot. Battle in front. Can't get the puck. Can't get the puck to the top of the slot. Now BYU back. Got to get some clarification on 19. I think it's Grawl, but there's been a lot of changes, so we'll see what happens. Anderson getting announced now, and Province offsides. Asaf gets the assist. That's Asaf's 24th on the season and his 26th point in 28 games. Boz might not always find the back of the net every night, but he certainly is the quarterback of this UNLV power play. And Boz's contributions to the Rebels can never be measured in statistics alone. You're not going to find Asaf's contributions to the Skating Rebels on any analytical sheet. Here's Asaf, or here's Anderson. Had a steam wrister saved by Ward. Juicy rebound, nobody there to pounce on it. And BYU controls down 4-1. Safe to say that the Cougars are in desperation mode right now, as UNLV doesn't give up many 3-goal leads. Asaf chasing. Puck leaks out over to Anderson, who tries to get it up to Ruiz. Unsuccessful in doing that as UNLV clears or gets it out of their zone. 6:24 to go, third period. 4-1 UNLV as they look to go to 23-5 in the season. And Anthony Greener, the head coach for the Rebels, is upset about something. And I know this because of words I cannot repeat. And BYU controls, looking for a stretch pass to get one back quick. They have 2-on-1 if they hurry. Wide of Idison. Idison out of his crease. Still loose. Idison now gets on it as BYU applying a tremendous amount of pressure. But Idison out of position for a second, quickly gets back in his crease to make the save as the puck was right in front of him. And keep the score at 4-1. 5:50 to go. As the Rebels go over and congratulate Idison. Face-off won by BYU, kept into the UNLV zone, almost out. Linesman said, we're good, play on. Big hit in the corner. Spire was looking for a call, he's got a hit from behind, no call there. And we can hear some of the Rebel players not happy with the lack of calls as BYU is trying to crank up the pressure. Hetzel loses a skate. Wanted a call, felt like he was tripped. Simone gets it in deep to the corner. Chased there by Mayer. Mayer looking to get it into the slot area. Nobody there to control. And BYU breaks out. They break out 1-on-3. Great move there, and a save by Idison. Fantastic move to get to the inside by Chase Christensen. And Idison was there to make the save. Christensen went in 1-on-3. And we're going to have a call in the corner behind the play. As it looks like Hetzel and Carlson, Chad Carlson, were mixed up, or mixing it up. And we'll see what the call is there. Looks like both players are going to go off. And Hetzel pleading his case. looks like it's only going to be Hetzel. Honestly, is behind the play, so I didn't see exactly what happened. Great crowd tonight at the Sobe Ice Arena, by the way. UNLV now looking to kill off a 2-minute BYU man advantage. 4:36 to go in the game. 4-1 UNLV, and if BYU has any hopes of coming back, they need to score on this power play. Axel Boyer tried to find somebody in front and does. As Colley couldn't get it off his stick, Idison was there to make the save. Boyer controls, and that almost took my head off. Nick Gears wristed out a play. This will be the last of the scaffold games, so it should be relatively safe the rest of the year. Scamorza takes the draw against Shimbashi, won by the Cougars. Big shot from the point, saved by Idison. Puck up in the air, trying to get collected by the Cougars. They do. Back out to Shimbashi, shoots and scores. While the Cougars cut it to 4-2 on a power play goal. And there's some BYU fans in the house that are pretty happy about that. I hope they're equally as happy in 4 minutes. Yeah, we got a chant going, can't make it out. And Idison goes to the bench. He's getting looked at. He's smiling, so that's a good sign. It looks like he's just getting his equipment looked at. Might be a good idea to take a timeout. Well, it looks like that's what they're going to do, so I won't take credit for that thought. But it looks like UNLV is going to take a timeout here. 4-2, 4 minutes to go. Calm the troops down. And apparently we have a 50-50 raffle winner. Had the pleasure of being in Anaheim on Sunday for the Ducks Blues game. Their 50-50 raffle got up to 20 grand. Pretty sure this fell short. The Rebels offensively number 2 in the West, and total goals scored. In fact, they're number 2 in the country in total goals scored, only one behind UTEP for the lead in the entire Division II and the ACHA. Another poke in front of Idison, and there's no other way to describe that except a little bit lazy. And BYU gets another one past Idison and makes it 4-3 with 3:50 to go. And the Cougar faithful, who we haven't heard from for 2.5 periods, all of a sudden has found their voice and rooting their home team on. I guess I would too if I drove all this way. So 3:49 to go, and this game now is far from over, and UNLV needs to put their big boy pants on and put this one away. Third goal scored by Chase Christensen. Chase is one of the few Cougars who's in double digits in goals scored, but he gets that one there, his 11th of the year. So 3:17 to go, 4-3 UNLV. And like in every other sport between these two teams, nothing is easy. BYU comes into the UNLV zone, head of steam. Jansen Eisenstadt comes in with a head of steam, gets ridden off. There's going to be another penalty, and we'll see who this is going to be in. It's going to be a high sticking. And it looks like UNLV is going to go to the power play. So this is a big call for the Rebels. Maybe a costly mistake for BYU, and Jake Nelson gets called for the high stick. So with 2:56 to go in the third period, 2 minutes of that at least, we'll see the Rebels on the power play. A huge mistake as the puck comes out to Nick Gears over to Asaf. UNLV would like nothing more to extend this to a 5-3 lead, because you know when the penalty is up, BYU laser beam wide of Ward, doesn't quite get to him and back out. You know when the penalty's over that they will pull Ward in an attempt to get that game time goal. Terry onto the ice. Here's Gears. Gears brings it up into the Cougar zone. Battling for it in the corner. 2:21 to go. 4-3 Rebels. Rebels keep it in. Rebels on a power play for another minute 20. And BYU pounds it down towards Idison and makes a change. Gears with a head of steam, dumps it off for Terry. Wrister wide of Ward, out of position, nobody there to pound home the puck on the empty side of the net. UNLV back out to the right side and out of the zone. Skamorza comes in off of the change. Heavy forecheck there by the Cougars. One thing UNLV cannot do is make passes that are not intended for a teammate. And we've seen a lot of times that there has been some errant passes that opposing teams have jumped on and scored goals on. They have to make sure every pass has a purpose. In front, wide open, Wrister on Ward, and he reaches up and makes the save. I'm not sure that would have went in anyway, but good idea to get that save. Why not? Let's crank some Motorhead, some Ace of Spades. 1:16 to go, third period, 4-3 Rebels. 20 seconds to go on the Rebel power play. And it looks like BYU is going to call their timeout. In 2014-15, BYU was 3-22-1, including an 0-15 mark on the road. In 2015-16, they improved to 7-21-1, 3-11 on the road. And of course, this season, so far they're 500, hoping not to drop below 500, but 2-5 on the road. So the point about that is you can see that the BYU program has improved every single year. And we've seen a lot of teams come in here, and certainly teams that have played hockey a lot longer than BYU, but are certainly not as good as the Cougars are right now. So the Cougars' future is certainly bright, but UNLV hopes to dim that light tonight and get out of here and improve to 23-5 as the Rebels win the faceoff. Scrum in the left-hand corner. So 10 seconds to go in that power play. The more the Cougars can tie it up, the more time comes off that penalty. 3 seconds to go in that penalty. Under a minute to go in the game. And as soon as the puck comes down the other end, they're going to pull Ward. But UNLV still maintains control. As long as they can control it in the BYU zone, Ward has to stay in that net. 44 seconds to go. Now it's UNLV's turn to tie that puck up. And BYU now has control. Out of their zone. Accessing the UNLV zone. There goes Ward. Extra attacker. Now we got another penalty. And a big hit in the corner. And it looks like it's going to be a hooking call. So it probably doesn't have anything to do with a hit. So let's see who this is on, because if it's on BYU, that's 2 penalties that's cost them. And we'll see officially, and this penalty is going to be on Ruiz. So BYU is not only going to have a man advantage, they're going to have a 2-man advantage. with 24 seconds left, 23 seconds left. And UNLV returns the favor with a costly penalty. As the referees blow the whistle, working something out there. I think it's the time on the clock. You're going to have to... Okay, so you're going to have to add some time because some time went off the clock without the puck dropping. And I think they added 3 seconds. Big face-off won by BYU. By great job there by Victor Brask. And 15 seconds to go. BYU with a 2-man advantage. Ward is pulled, coming into the offensive zone. Wrister saved by Idison. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Strumming aside. Here's the sticks are up. And as you can see, we got 1 second left in the game. Simone taking a shot. And they know there's 1 second left. Tempers flaring as Idison comes over to get involved. And Jacob Eisenstadt takes a cheap shot. And that's the way this rivalry has always gone down. As Nick Gears puts his arm around Tannenberg. And we basically only have to drop the puck here. Gears is going to be asked to leave. And basically this game's a formality. 1 second to go. And there's not like, we don't do 1.8, 1.9 here. So basically it's a drop of the puck. Apparently our cameraman has left and the game's not even over. So we have that going on. So I'll do the camera. Why not? So 1 second left. They're sorting this out. Cameraman has left me. I'm sure in my luck tonight if I touch the camera, it somehow will break. So let's show what's going on over here. So the Rebels, barring anything unforeseen here, I don't even know if it's physically possible for them to get a shot off in a minute. But UNLV is going to go to 23-5 on the season as Asaf takes the draw. And Asaf having a good-natured conversation with Axel Boyer. And when it's all said and done, BYU will actually have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they'll have a one-man advantage, but the reality is all they have to do is drop the puck, so this is merely a formality. And UNLV goes to 23-5 on the season with a big win, 4-3 over the BYU Cougars. As BYU falls to 8-9 on the season, and BYU now goes to California to play at Long Beach tomorrow and Saturday at Northridge. Good effort by the Cougars. There's a lot of teams that come in here and will, after being down 3 goals, BYU didn't do that, so you got to hand it to them. But UNLV moves on, and we'll see them next week, January 27th and 28th at the Las Vegas Ice Center against SMU. Game time is at 8:05. As both teams shaking hands as customary, or as is customary, if that's the last time that they face each other. This is always sometime interesting, depending on the physicality of the game, so we'll watch this. But good for Coach Greener, good for assistant coach Nick Raboni as the Skating Rebels are saluting the home crowd. A great crowd here at the Sobe Ice Arena, where tonight the UNLV Skating Rebels go to 23-5 with a 4-3 victory over the BYU Cougars. I'm Dana Lane. We'll be back with you next week from the Las Vegas Ice Center as UNLV looks to go to 24-5 on the season as they face the SMU Mustangs. Good night.